In his persecution of Falun Gong, Jiang Zemin completely violated Chinese laws, and violated international conventions as well. In October 2002, when Jiang was visiting Chicago, Falun Gong practitioners successfully delivered a summons to him, and started a lawsuit against him. Besides, a group of regular folks launched a network, to try Jiang in a philosophical sense. People rallied in public places to perform mock trials of Jiang. On September 30, 2003, the Global Coalition to Bring Jiang to Justice held a press conference to announce its establishment. It's a jointly initiated and sponsored organization by more than 80 groups and individuals, from Europe, the Americas, Asia, and Australia. Besides Jiang, his followers were also sued in other countries, among them were Luo Gan, Zhou Kang, Liu Jing, Li Lanqing, Zheng Qinghong, Bo Xilai and others. Some had been sued more than 10 times. Zhao Zhifei, former deputy director of Hubei Province Police Department, Liu Qi, former mayor of Beijing, and Xia Diren, former deputy governor of Liaoning Province, were declared as guilty as charged in different lawsuits. They were charged with torture, genocide, anti-humanity and other violations of human rights. Pan Xin-chun, former deputy consul general in Toronto, was charged due to publishing a letter in a local English newspaper attacking Joel Chipka, a businessman and Falun Gong volunteer spokesman. Pan was found guilty of libel by the Ontario Superior Court. He had fled Canada, and is hiding in China. Su Rong, former party secretary of Gansu Province, was charged with murder, torture, and humiliation of Falun Gong practitioners during his visit to Zambia. Then he was charged with contempt of court because he failed to appear in court as ordered. Faced with an arrest warrant, Su Rong was running across the border and hiding in Zimbabwe for almost 10 days. He then escaped to South Africa and flew back to China. Afterward, he said he would not easily be persuaded to travel overseas again. On July 19, 2004, Chen Zhili, the former Minister of Education, and a member of the State Council, during a visit to Tanzania was charged with torturing and killing Falun Gong followers and maltreatment within the Chinese education system, and had to make a mandatory court appearance on that day. In March 2003, Fa Wang Hui, a persecution monitoring organization, submitted to the United Nations documents related to the Chinese government's persecution of Falun Gong, which totaled more than 4,000 pages. The documents listed more than 11,610 office officials, police officers and other persons involved in the persecution. It also goes over the details of their crimes. In January of 2003, an international human rights organization called the World's Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong was established in the United States. The organization devoted itself to investigate all individuals and organizations possibly involved in persecuting Falun Gong, and collect evidence about the persecution. It also coordinates closely with each local government and related international agencies. It hopes to carry out comprehensive and historical trials of the criminals responsible for the persecution. In September of 2003, the Canadian Fond de Fa Association submitted documents to Canada's Program on Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes. This file documented evidence of crimes against Falun Gong that were committed by 15 high-level Chinese officials, which later increased to 45, including Jiang Zemin. Any persons on the list would be investigated if attempting entering Canada. On March 9, 2004, a human rights supporters organization, called Friends of Falun Gong, and the World Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong, submitted to the U.S. government a list of names of 102 party chiefs responsible for persecuting Falun Gong, including Jiang Zemin, Luo Gan, Liu Jing, Zhou Kang, Li Lanqing, Wang Maolin and so on, and requested the American government to forbid them from entering America. Currently, there were numerous lawsuits in many countries against Jiang and his followers who persecute Falun Gong, holding the CCP officials responsible for what they have done. The international community had claimed that lawsuits of this magnitude have not been seen since the Nuremberg trials of Nazi criminals. Some CCP officials began thinking about ways out for themselves. They have privately collected and compiled documents to prove that they were forced to carry out the orders by the 610 office. Some higher-level 610 offices had ordered to urgently take back all documents and materials related to the persecution of Falun Gong, since the illegal suppression started in 1999. Jiang's friends and allies have begun abandoning his campaign against Falun Gong, and the campaign is heading down to a dead end. Jiang is faced with inescapable nets above and snares below, which verifies an old Chinese saying, "Those who are unjust, are doomed for destruction.